Chicken sandwich, original chicken sandwich, the big fish, the Jumbo ham and cheese. And make any of them spicy. Any two for just $9. Only available at Burger King.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy. Taking care of your health. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees. So fair. Today's Wednesday, the 17th day of May 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, we urge you to please, please, please be extremely cautious, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle. We urge you to ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, if you do so, then the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday, and also to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs today are proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is make the right decision for your family's future today. Also, More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson Building. For those of you who have lost loved ones, we want to extend our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing to you as well. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open. This morning, we won't open them right away. We're going to ask you to hold off on your phone calls for a while. We do have guests in the studio, and we want to introduce them, get the conversation going, but the phone lines will be open to you as well, because we want to hear from you. We want to get feedback from you as well. So when those phone lines are open, you can call us on a toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at for the record, one word, for the record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note, the contents of which will be played during the course of the show. You can follow us on YouTube. You do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream, and also we are on Facebook as well. Also to remind you that we can now take calls on that 925-3261 number as well, but we can only accommodate one caller at a time during that period. So before I introduce my guest in the studio, to remind you that we do have the For the Record birthday shout-outs this morning, proudly brought to you by life insurance agent Michael Webster from Cayman Insurance Center, whose advice to you is to make the right decision for your family's future today. Also, More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture, tap into your roots. More Than Words, located on the second floor of the Thompson building. So let's look at some birthdays being celebrated today. So first of all, today we have Mr. J.D. Martin, James D. Martin, celebrating his birthday today. And I'm told that I can say how old he is as well. He's 80 years of age today, J.D. Martin. Also, Mr. Peter Lauder, celebrating a birthday today. Some of you may know him, long-term resident of the Cayman Islands. I believe he now resides in South Carolina. Peter was manager at CIBC, I think it was, Peter Lauder as well. So he's celebrating a birthday today. On Monday, Mr. Alan Ebanks, 71 years of age today, on Monday as well. And I was reminded by his good friend, Mr. Steve Dodds, who resides in Bloomington, Indiana, when he's not in East End as well. Also, Mr. Stefan Johnson celebrated his birthday on Monday, and the days before we had our cameras fixed in the studio, Mr. Stefan Johnson was an integral part of Radio Cayman, doing the video, the live video for us as well. So he celebrated his birthday on Monday. Mr. Wade Tomasa celebrated his birthday yesterday as well. And we have a few more here. Yesterday, Miss Donna Myra Stevens celebrated a birthday. Laverne Welcome and Brother Martin Royer. Other birthdays today, San McLaughlin, David Robinson, Megan Arnett, Sheen, Tama Booth, and Yaklin Sanchez Scott celebrating a birthday today. And then we also have a happy birthday to Mel Whitaker and Eloise Seymour from Miss Jewel in Northside as well. So we had lots of birthdays, shout-outs this morning. Of course, that is due to the holiday on Monday. And of course, for the record, we weren't on air on Monday as well. Then we have another one here. This person says, I would like to wish my little great-great-grandchild, Madison Chambers, a happy 4th birthday today. These greetings are coming from your great-grandmother, Ruth James, with lots of love and blessings on your special day. So lots of birthday greetings going out as well. So we have about 4 minutes before we go to our first commercial break. We do have some very important guests in the studio this morning. Some you may be familiar with, and if you have good memories that goes back 8 years, you will remember them as well. So I'm going to go around the table this morning and ask each of our guests to introduce themselves. They are all members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission, that has been established in our Constitution. So, Dr. Hadley, we're going to start with you. Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. It's been a while. I was here 8 years ago when we were doing this same exercise. I'm Dr. Lisa Handley. I am the chairman of the Electoral Boundary Commission here. I am a political scientist by training, and I have worked for the UN and other international organizations doing similar things to what I'm doing here now.
Okay.
I'm Adriana Webb, attorney at law for quite a number of years.
You wouldn't say how many.
No, I won't give you my age, Orett. Thank you for having us. I was on the first Boundary Commission, and everyone since then, so I've been at this quite a while. Like Dr. Handley said, it was 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. Dr. McPhail was also on at that time too. So we've been sort of all hands at this now. So it's been quite interesting going around having the meetings.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record. I am Steve McPhail. I have a different
no stranger
hat.
to For the Record.
I'm wearing a different hat today. I'm not your co-host today.
Yes.
So I have been on the commission too. Since 2008, and we have been working hard to try to come up with a solution to the problems that we're having with the increase in population now, and so we are working steadily. Dr. Hadley came in last week, and she had been in couple of weeks before, and we had done extensive work. Going to all the districts and looking at all of the developments and so forth, and now we're here now going to the public with hear what the public has to say, feedback from them about what our proposals may be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and there have been some meetings taking place already, others that will take place as well, and we will talk some more about them. Just before we go to the break, I just want to let our audience know about the Electoral Boundaries Commission and the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009, Section 89, speaks about the review and alteration of electoral district boundaries. And it reads, an Electoral Boundaries Commission shall, as soon as practicable, after its appointment, review the boundaries of the electoral districts into which the Cayman Islands are divided, and taking into account the changes or proposed changes, if any, in a number of electoral districts or of elected members of the Legislative Assembly, shall submit a report to the Governor and to the Legislative Assembly containing its recommendations for any changes in the number and boundaries of the electoral districts. And it goes on to talk about the preparation of the report. We will talk more about that. We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the three of you have mentioned the fact that 8 years ago you were here. First of all, I'd like you to talk about the importance of continuity in the membership of an Electoral Boundaries Commission, how important that continuity is in order, for us to be consistent in what we are doing as well. So, folks, we're going to take our first commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Captain Livingston Anderson, 1873-1944.
Captain Anderson was a well-known and successful ship owner and sea captain, one of the only black ship owners and master mariners in Cayman at the time. He owned the sloop Panama in the early 1900s and piled a regular cargo trade between Panama and San Blas Islands. He also raised cattle, ran a plantation, and raised horses for rental. He was well respected by all business owners in Cayman, a pioneer for black business ownership at the time when business ownership was heavily skewed along racial lines. He was married to the former Catherine L.V. Mackenzie, and the couple had 5 children.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
More Than Words, your gateway to local books and more. Connect to your culture. Tap into your roots. More Than Words bookstore in the Thompson Building. Supplies local books, gifts, trinkets, keepsakes, wall plaques, and journals. The hub for local authors. More Than Words. So much more. More Than Words is now open. Shop number 4, 2nd floor Thompson Building. Or call 936-5544.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
System 1 loaded. 1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission here in the Cayman Islands. They have been conducting meetings on Monday, the 15th of May. Their constituents of Georgetown East, Red Bay, and Prospect met at the Mayor Miller Hall. On Tuesday, yesterday, the 16th, Georgetown North, Georgetown Central, Georgetown South, and Georgetown West. And today, Wednesday, the 24th, there will be a lunchtime meeting open for all at the Georgetown Public Library from 12 to 1:30. None of that has changed, has it? Any changes to that schedule?
Well, we're not at the public library. We were there last night. I think that might be for next week.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. My bad. May the 24th. My bad.
Yeah.
Wednesday, May the 17th. Sorry. Bordentown, Savannah, and Newlands at the Joanna Clark Primary School from 7 to 9.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad, for that as well. Okay. So we want to talk a little bit about institutional knowledge and the importance of some measure of continuity. And maybe we can start by the fact that the first Electoral Boundaries Commission that was established had to be established after the coming into effect of our Constitution in 2009. Doctor, you want to talk about that?
I would say that we were very lucky to have Ms. Webb here from the very beginning.
Yes.
But I don't want people to worry if we're not around the next time. What's much more important is experience, knowing the country backwards and forwards like my colleagues do. And for me, I bring the international perspective to the table. So I would say experience is important, but we have been very lucky to have continuity, especially with my colleagues having done this much longer than I have. This is only my second go-round.
Well, the first Boundary Commission was chaired by Mr. Dundas,
yes,
who was
Clark
out
Dundas.
of Jamaica and England. And when he wasn't able to come, he recommended Dr. Handley. So, I was on the first commission and all of those since then. And you do get to know how people feel. And we have found that they want to stay in their traditional districts. They're very attached to West Bay, East End, North Side, the Georgetowners to Georgetown, Bordentowners to Bordentown. So it might be changing a little with the younger people. And, the availability of land in these, particularly Georgetown, is very difficult and expensive. So they have been moving out towards Bordentown. And as a result of that, the Bordentown districts have really grown tremendously, particularly over this last 4 years. So, but they're still attached to their districts, and as local representatives, Mr. Macfield and I was born here, so was he. I'm in 70 now, so we've gotten to know. We know how we feel. We know how the locals feel, and my nieces, they feel basically the same way in most things that I do. They're really attached to where they are. They like Cayman as it is, and they want to remain here and have Cayman sort of be like modernized in some ways, but retain a lot of the things that they're used to. And we find that that's how most locals tend to feel, and Mr. Macfield can elaborate on that.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a sort of national feeling here about the geographical area that people are living. I'll give you an example of this. Several weeks ago, someone approached me and said that if I could speak to my sister about purchasing her properties on Mira Street, because they pointed out to me oh, it's all been commercial now, and where she lives now, most of the property has been purchased for commercial use, and she's almost surrounded by parking lots. And I told him, I says, I can't believe, I hope my sister doesn't have telepathy to find out that we were talking about her. So when I approached her, my sister said, listen, they can't buy my property. I live in Georgetown. I'm born in Georgetown. I'm going to die in Georgetown, despite the fact that all her children are living outside of the Georgetown into the suburbs in different areas. She said, no way, I live in a Georgetown. That's an example of how people feel. It's a sort of my grandmother used to say, they have their navel springs buried here, and they're attached to the land. It's the only thing that Caymanians really have, is the feeling that Cayman belongs to them and that Cayman is their home. And I think that is a hard thing. It's going to be a hard thing for them to realize that those days are really passing now, and there's a different kind of Cayman. And when you look at the statistics of the large increase in population, you know that sometimes in the future we are going to have to face the fact that our island is not the same anymore.
Yeah. So when we look at Section 88, subsection 7 of the Cayman Islands Constitution Order, it reads, for the purpose of the discharge of its function, an Electoral Boundaries Commission shall invite views from members of the public and may seek such advice as it considers appropriate. And you're going about now seeking those views, seeking those that advice as well. So we will use that, if I may, for the foundation for a discussion after we return from our 8 o'clock news to talk about that advice being sought, talk about the reaction that you have been receiving from the public. We know here in the Cayman Islands, we have a tendency we want things done, we want to participate, but when it comes time for participation, we sort of stand back. We shirk our responsibilities then, and we don't come out. But it is important for you to hear from the public. Otherwise, then, you can only act on the information that you receive. So we want to talk about how important that is, going about seeking that advice, whether or not the traditional ways of having town hall meetings in the day and age where everything is done electronically, by Zoom and other medium, how effective can we be in reaching the public? And of course, we're using this format this morning as well on a talk show to try to communicate and get feedback from the voting public as well. So folks, we're going to take a break for our 8 o'clock news, top of the hour. When we return, we will continue our conversation with members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission. We will tell you when the phone lines are open as well, because we do want to hear from you as well. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Radio Cayman time check now, 8 a.m. This time check brought to you by our friends at Foster's.
At Foster's, you'll always find the biggest specials on the products you love.
Just like bubbly sparkling water, only $5.49, save 70 cents. Or Dr. Organic Body Wash, just $5.99, save $3. And Banquet Pot Pies, only $1.59, save 60 cents.
You'll find even more great specials in-store or online with Foster's Go. Foster's, better prices because we care.
Price is good until May 17th, 2023. Find more specials at fosters.ky.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Back in March 2020, Cayman Brac Daycare Center netted a satisfactory rating, but during this year's inspection, the team of the Office of Education Standards found the quality of education had risen to good. The facility is the only government daycare run by the Cayman Islands government, and it removed the requirement to pay fees in 2019, ensuring the early childhood services are accessible to everyone in the community. With the introduction of a pre-kindergarten class at the neighboring primary school back in September 2019, the daycare now caters to infants and children between the ages of 6 months and 3 years. The OES inspection report says there are a number of strengths supported by positive outcomes for children. Achievement in most aspects of exploration, respect, and well-being are judged as good. Play opportunities supporting children's curiosity and creativity is also good. Children's achievement in aspects of communication remained at satisfactory. Teaching, learning, assessment, and curriculum have now been judged as good. The report says since the previous inspection, staff had improved assessment practices, and assessment information now provided a, quote, rich and coherent picture of each child's learning and development. The curriculum was judged as good because it was broad and balanced, as were health and safety and support and guidance. Children's health and well-being were effectively promoted throughout the center, and all kids were cared for by, quote, kind and caring staff, supporting positive outcomes. Leadership, links with parents and community and staffing and the learning environment were also judged as good. Leadership, quote, demonstrated a clear focus upon improving standards. The daycare center in the Brac's partnership with parents, external providers, and groups and agencies in the community successfully supported and enhanced the quality of children's learning and development. Electoral Boundary Commission meetings began this week. CIGTV's Donna Bush reports.
The Cayman Islands Constitution requires a boundary review process every 8 years, and the Electoral Boundary Commission is responsible for review of electoral boundaries to ensure that each electoral district has a fair and equal representation of voters. Now, the EBC's recommendation for changes to the electoral boundaries must be presented to the governor, who is then responsible for forwarding them to Parliament. To better inform the public, the Electoral Boundaries Commission has started district meetings. It started on May 15th and will run through the 24th to allow voters to learn more about the current electoral districts and the boundary review process. These meetings will allow voters to have their voices heard and help shape future electoral districts in the Cayman Islands. Now, the public is being encouraged to take advantage of the opportunity to be part of the conversation as well as to make a difference.
And 98 volunteers in the community stepped up for shelter management training. The volunteers included a mixture of civic-minded residents in the community, volunteers from the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, and the Red Cross. Some of the main stakeholders involved the HSA, who provided doctors and nurses in the Emergency Medical Center designated shelters, along with mental health practitioners, police service members, emergency medical services staff, along with those from the Environmental Health Department. HMCI will issue an updated 2023 emergency shelter list on their website, caymanprepare.gov.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News, I'm John Shea. The United Nations has warned that global temperatures over the next 5 years will almost certainly be the hottest ever recorded. The World Meteorological Organization says this will have huge implications for health, food security, water management and the environment. France's former president, Nicolas Sarkozy, has lost his appeal against a 3-year prison sentence for corruption. Instead of going to jail, he'll wear an electronic tag for 1 year, with 2 years of the term suspended. China has issued a $2 million fine to one of its best-known comedy companies. A performer told a joke at a comedy night seen as making fun of the military and China's leader Xi Jinping. The last grain ship has left port in Ukraine before the expiry of a deal allowing the safe export of cereals through the Black Sea. The UN brokered the deal to help tackle food shortages exacerbated by Russia's invasion, but Moscow is yet to agree to an extension. Russia's President Putin and his Iranian counterpart have overseen the signing of a deal to build a railway line in Iran that would provide a new link for regional trade. Russia says the north-south transport corridor could rival the Suez Canal as a major trade route. And that's the latest BBC World News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com. Are you tired of waiting in long lines at the pharmacy just to fill a prescription?
If what, child, let me tell you.
Well, now you can save time and money with ValueMed's online prescription service. Visit ValueMed's new website, valrx.com, and click the Refill Subscriptions button. Fill in your information and choose your preferred pickup location. Or email your prescription refills for ValueMed Walkers Road at rx-wr@valrx.com, and for ValueMed in Boddentown, email rx-bt at valrx.com. Say goodbye to the hassle of waiting in lines and hello to the convenience of online prescriptions with ValueMed Pharmacy. Visit valrx.com to place your orders today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store, or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you. From cookware to stereos, from power tools to plumbing supplies. Yeah, we got the best goods with the best price and a service to make you smile. Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
TD, you hear about that March for Jesus they be having worldwide?
Yeah, happening in Cayman too, 27th day of May 2023. Well, that's coming up here soon now. Let me tell you, I got my sneakers. I heard about it too.
And I hear that people can walk, you could ride your bicycle, you could use scooter, and drive your car, any form of transportation you could use.
Well, they also providing transportation from the outlying districts, East End, North Side. Yeah. They gotta make sure that everybody that won't participate can be there.
So what time we gotta be down there?
So they gotta be at the 7 Mile Public Beach at 2 p.m. because the march can start at 3 p.m. So you get there for 2 p.m.
Okay. And then what we gonna have up in town? I heard something they have in town too.
Oh, big praise and worship session afterward too. Oh yeah, I heard right of then the legislative assembly steps. Boy, I can't wait to praise and lift hands to God. Boy, I tell you, I go to march for Jesus.
Me too.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first. All right, once again, good morning to you, my friends. Let's take a look at your latest weather on this Wednesday, May 17. It's nice and sunny on the outside. Present temperature 81 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels like about 86. Winds are out of the east at 4 miles per hour. Relative humidity now 80%. Barometric pressure now at 29.91 inches and falling. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies, along with isolated showers and some thunder, is expected through tomorrow morning as an upper level system interacts with a low level inverted trough over the northwest Caribbean. So our forecast for today calls for partly cloudy to cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s with a heat index of 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be south to southeast at 5 or less, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Later this evening, partly cloudy to cloudy skies, 30% chance of showers and possible thunder. Temperatures will fall to the mid-70s. Winds will be south to southeast at 5 knots or less, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. We are now in a high tide. Low tide will be at 2:18 this afternoon, high at 8:57 tonight. For tomorrow, low tide will be at 3:04 a.m., high at 8:13 a.m., low at 2:49 p.m., and high at 9:37 p.m. Sunset this evening is at 6:53, and the outlook is for a gradual decrease in shower and thunder activity from Wednesday evening, along with the continuation of the light winds and slight to smooth seas. That, my friends, is your latest weather brought to you by our good friends at CG Britcay.
Mommy, why can't dogs talk? Why do I have to go to school and you don't? Why do you sing in the morning when you're bad at it? Why don't you brush your teeth when you take me to school? Why doesn't it ever snow here? Why does Daddy take the bus to work? Why are trees so tall? Why don't you tell me where babies come from? Mommy, Mommy, Mommy!
We're like a kid that doesn't ask a million questions before noon. CG Britke. Good like that.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britke, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving our goals is rewarding, but at times can feel frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, look at the big picture. What is most important to you? When you are successful, how will your life be different? These questions can help you define what success means to you. Are you dreaming of owning your own business, getting a significant promotion, or running a marathon? These values will guide the goals you set for your future life. Being able to envision your values in action will make them feel real and near.
Change your thinking and change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning, my friends. As we make movements into the Georgetown area, some heading West Bay, some heading to the eastern districts. Let's see how the traffic situation is. Of course, forgot to mention about the school buses this morning, taking kids to their respective schools. There's a report of one school bus that has broken down close to the Old Hyatt area on that roundabout, Century 21 roundabouts, maybe causing a little bit of a hiccup or snafu in traffic. So just be cautious going around that area, or if you can find an alternative route to get around it. Of course, taking a look at the traffic coming out of the eastern districts, looking down at the east-west arterial, traffic is flowing smoothly until getting to the Red Bay roundabout. Of course, you'll run into some traffic there. And also, traffic is continuing along the Linford Pearson and Crew Road as well. Similar going through South Sound, and some turning up through Walker's Road. Expect to run into some traffic there as well, as parents are taking kids to the schools in that Walker's Road area. Of course, looking at Edward Street, quite light traffic at the moment, similar with Shannon Road and Eastern Avenue, getting a little bit busy with traffic coming in from off the Godfrey Nixon Way. Bobby Thompson Way, of course, congested with traffic in the northbound lane, of course, similar with Huldah Avenue, some continuing on to Elgin Avenue, some continuing through Thomas Russell Way. Expect to run into some traffic there. And of course, as the traffic camera swivels across to the Butterfield roundabout, we do have some traffic in that area. We like traffic coming off the SLE Tibbetts, North Sound Road, of course, usual traffic this time of the morning. And of course, Cayman Brac, a little Cayman, minimal traffic. One cruise ship is in port, so expect lots of pedestrian movement today along the waterfront, Seafarers Way, North Church Street, onto West Bay Road, South Church Street as well, and in the inner streets of Georgetown. Buckle up and stay safe, my friends. Expect some light showers today as reported by the weather, and just be careful out there, all right? take care of yourself, each other, and be cautious on the roads and be courteous as well. Look out for those on bicycles, scooters, motorbikes. And stay safe. Your traffic report brought to you by our good friends at Subway.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission in the Cayman Islands, as established by the Cayman Islands Constitution Order 2009. We have Dr. Lisa Handley, who is the chair of the commission. We also have Ms. Adriana Webb, and they have stolen my co-host from me this morning, Dr. Steve McFeel. He is now functioning as a member of the commission as opposed to being, my co-host here this morning. So we're talking about the meetings that are taking place, and tonight, Wednesday, the 17th of May, for the constituencies of Savannah and Newlands. Meeting will take place at the Joanna Clark Primary School, also known as the Savannah Primary School, from 7 to 9 p.m. So it won't be at the Georgetown Library like I erroneously said earlier. That will be on May the 24th, lunchtime at the library. We'll soon be opening up the phones as well. So those of you who are constantly talking about the fact that I want my 4 votes or I want my 5 votes back rather than having just 1 vote, one person using the system of 1 person, 1 vote. For those of you who are complaining, well, East End only has a certain size population, North Side only has a certain size population, but they return each return 1 member in our parliament as well. And some of you may have views on other issues as well. You will get an opportunity to call in this morning. If you don't get that opportunity, we want to encourage you to please, please, please attend the meetings so that you can have your say as well. So, folks, let's talk a little bit about the meetings. And I don't know if you want to share so far how the responses have been and what sort of interaction that you're getting from the public as well. Mike's open to whomever.
Well, we had a meeting in the Prospect area, and Monday was a public holiday. And to be honest, the response wasn't too great. We had a meeting at the Georgetown Public Library. That wasn't a working day, so the attendance, really wasn't much better. So we're really encouraging the public to come out and voice their opinions. Let us know what their views are, what flaws they find in the system, how they feel, and what they think ought to happen, what in their district needs to change. So we really need to hear from the public. And I know it's difficult to come out after work in an evening, but governments are important. Political parties are part of the scene, and we have elections to choose our leaders. And the leaders really govern the country, and people need to know and get involved in the political system. If you want things to be the way you want them to be, you have to have some input in the political process. So I would encourage everyone to come. You don't necessarily have to come to the meeting in your area. You can come to the meeting in any other district. You can, if you're in Georgetown, you can come tonight at Savannah. You come to Bordentown. You can come to any meeting. It's the same thing sort of being discussed, and if you live closer to that area, come and tell us what your views are. We need to hear from the public as to what their gripes are, their concerns, what is working, and then we can put all that in a report for the government to consider and decide what they think is appropriate for the country.
Okay, so even though we haven't announced the opening of the phone lines, we do have a caller, and we're not going to discourage that caller from calling in. So we're going to take the call now, and Paul, we will continue to keep the phone lines open, and we can alternate between the callers and our panelists as well. So let's grab the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, panel.
Good morning.
Good morning, K-Man. When I heard that the electoral boundaries committee was on, I decided to call. I love the one man, one vote if it was applied across these three small islands. You get a choice of all the candidates not because where you live. Tomorrow you may move and go on the other side. So any politician or any representative in our islands is going to take care of everything, not just one district. If you've got a pothole in front of Cayman Turtle Farm, I don't think they're going to ignore this because they're from Georgetown or all the one was from Savannah or wherever. They're going to fix everything. We just need the 19 most committed people that's putting their face out there in the public to get beat up on. We want the 19 best across the island, whether they all come out of Rock Hole or they all come out of Lock Woods or they all come out of any other place around here, the Shores or wherever, or East End.
So caller, you're advocating then that we should get rid of our constituencies and just have one huge voting area?
Right, that would be, that gives us, the residents and the voters, the right to choose who we want to represent us as Caymanian, because districts are not cutting it. It's not working well.
So one person would have the ability to elect all 19 members.
Yeah. Any of the 19 members they want. They still get just one vote.
Okay.
They can choose from the 100 candidates out there, and they still only got one vote. And the 19 top representatives across these three islands get the 19 top seats. Number 20, sorry, you did something wrong. Not enough people liked you.
Okay. Let's get some feedback. If you want to stay on the line, let's get some feedback from a panelist here as well. Dr. Hanley, you want to respond?
There have been countries that have had systems like that.
And by international standards, those are considered the least fair systems because, of course, a majority of, let's say, for example, as you do in the United States, let's say you have a state that is, say, 1/3 black and 2/3 white. Mm-hmm. What that means is that the whites will control the votes, and all 19 representatives, because voting is racially polarized in the United States, will be voted in by whites, and you will never see any black representatives. So these systems are pretty much considered unfair, and the countries that have had them have left them behind from an international perspective.
Okay. Anyone else wants from the panelists?
Well, I think in our situation, that might lead to, like, say, Georgetown and Bordentown and West Bay controlling just everything. Their votes are going to count most. And we might end up with
the size of their population.
Yeah, their size of their population. And we might not have any representatives from the other areas. And is that what we really want?
Mm-hmm. Caller?
Yes, that's a good idea for large countries with sort of polarized racism built into their things. I lived in the United States, so if you were going to pick a country, you shouldn't have picked United States or a state in that area, because most counties in Texas is bigger than Cayman, 100 square miles. So that is all out of the picture. When you're talking about Cayman, we, the people, don't want to get left out. And the issues about who's going to represent West Bay or something, we're going to assign the same electoral boundaries. We don't need them for our voting purposes. We need them for our work assignments. Each representative will get a district to work in, just like they do right now. They'll get a district. They'll get a position. The only thing changes is they can't good old boy me down here underneath this mango tree and butter me up.
Okay. Caller, I'm not sure what district you're from, but I want to encourage you to please attend the meeting when it is in your district, because our panelists around the table here, they want to hear more from you as well in that regard. We want to thank you for the feedback that you have been given here, and to remind you, I'm not sure what district you're in. I'm not going to ask you unless you want to volunteer that, and I can tell you. Sorry?
I'm from West Bay.
West Bay, okay. So
Dr. Mike Field, remember me coming up to Savannah years ago when he was talking about this, and I said that you're not going to make a national vote out of this little small country and put people assigned there so that their good old friends don't be buttering them up and stuff. You don't have. I wanted to vote for Bo Miller and his ideas about keeping our pension fund here in the Cayman Islands, and I lived in West Bay, and I couldn't vote for one of the best creative minds and visionists that I seen put their face out there in politics.
Okay, caller. So on Monday, the 22nd of May, West Bay North, West Bay South, West Bay West, and West Bay Central. The meeting will be at the Sir John A. Cumber School Hall from 7 until 9 p.m. So that is next week, Monday, the 22nd. Caller, thank you very much. And again, I encourage you to please attend the meeting. We have another caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Connor, and good morning to your panelists.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
This is Carrie from the BRAC. I just want to say that I think that when we're looking at the electoral boundaries, I think we need to look to the future now. The BRAC is a very fast-growing community, as you've got quite a bit of the BRACers that have moved to Grand for years and now building homes and moving back to the BRAC. And so the population up here is growing quite quickly. And I've seen it in the less than 2 years. I've moved back permanently myself. I also feel that Little Cayman should have its own independent person for you to elect. We shouldn't have to share that here in the BRAC with another person. The BRAC and Little Cayman are completely two islands. Yes, one may be smaller than the next, but the BRAC is growing so fast that it needs its own representation, separate from sharing with Little Cayman, because as we have seen over the years, Little Cayman has been so grotesquely neglected by representatives who've been elected to share that island with Kimmebrack West District. That encompasses Little Cayman as well. That should not be. Kimmebrack West should be its own district, Kimmebrack East its own district, and Little Cayman its own district. So that's future thinking that needs to be sort of looked into when we're going about maybe reconstructing our electoral boundaries. You need to consider giving Little Cayman its own independent candidate representative for that island. And that's just, my point of view on that.
Caller, you do recognize the fact that the sister islands have already gotten a carve-out in our constitution by being able to return 2 members to our parliament, as opposed to the other constituencies who only get to elect 1 member. So now you're asking for 3 for the BRAC.
No, I'm not asking for 3 for the BRAC. I'm asking for 1 for Little Cayman. If you want to separate and give Kimmebrack only 1 representative,
okay, I got you.
That's fine with me.
Got you, yeah.
I have no problem with that, but they need to be independent of each other now, because these 2 islands are growing. One is growing faster than the next. In fact, Kimmebrack is growing faster than the fastest growing district in Grand Cayman right now. We know that's the Bordentown area of encompassing Newlands, Savannah, etc. We are growing faster than they are.
Okay.
I can afford to tell you that.
Any of the panelists have any observations or questions for the caller?
Well, that would take a long time before that would happen, because even today, Little Cayman-Brac does not have the numbers to warrant 2 members under the international standards. It's only because Cayman-Brac has carved out a place for them in the constitution that says that they should have 2 seats. But ordinarily, they would not be allowed to have 2 seats on the international standard, because they just don't have the population. So I don't see how Little Cayman, who only has about 300 people now, 200 people, would be able to come up with that. Maybe in years to come, in the next generation, maybe they might have that kind of population, but not today. Because it that would be sort of absurd, because then the Little Cayman would, with 1 representative, would have less people than Northside and East End, and we have a problem with them, because they're not supposed to have, under best international standards, they were not supposed to have more than 1, but because of the traditional boundary system and the constitution say that we have to take into account that they now have 1 member each.
Okay, caller, want to thank you very much for that. We're going to talk a little bit more, about the size of constituencies and what the international standards and international best practices in relation to that. We have to go to a commercial break. We have 1 caller on hold. Caller, don't hang the phone up. Quick commercial break. When we return, we will take your call, so please stay tuned.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Ensuring your walls, ceilings, and floors are properly sealed against air leaks is an important step in lowering your monthly energy bills. Even small gaps around windows, under doors, or around lighting and plumbing fixtures can add up to as much air loss as having an open window.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costyless, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We do have in the studio with us this morning members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission. They are conducting their consultations, their meetings in the various districts. And for our last caller, I want to remind her and other residents of Cayman Brac and Little Cayman that on Tuesday, next week Tuesday, May the 23rd, Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman and Cayman Brac East meeting will take place at the Ashton Radice Center from 6:30 to 8:30. That is on next week Tuesday, the 23rd of May. Let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, ma'am?
I'm very well, thanks. Good morning to everyone, and
Good
thank
morning, ma'am.
you,
Good morning.
Commission, for being there so we can voice our opinions. And I'm Alice May Cole from West Bay Central. So God willing, I'll be at the meeting on Monday evening, the 22nd, at the town school hall. Following on to Mr. Deal's suggestion about having as a national vote, as it were, I'm in favor of a national vote myself. We're such a small little country. Our total population is just one little spot, like in big countries. However, my suggestion would be I would like to be able to vote for all 19 people or whatever amount there would be. Have the vote for all 19. That sounds like a lot, but I think each and every one of us should be so interested in what's best for our Cayman Islands that we would take the time and put in the thought and energy to, analyze each candidate that is placing themselves up for election and pick the best of what would be available. However, one way to ensure that each district is properly represented, say for West Bay, we have 4 constituencies there. So just like when we used to do exams, or a long time ago in my day, you would have an exam paper of different parts. Part A, you must answer no more than, say, 4 questions. Part B, so many questions, maximum, and go like that. And that way, each district, each constituency would have the right to pick people from their own little district. Therefore, it would be no danger of only West Bayers or Georgetowners or Buddentowners or anybody monopolizing the results of the vote. I felt that way for a long time. Anyway, I'll see what happens. That takes a lot of other changes, not just the Electoral Boundary Commission, I guess. One other little thing that has been bothering me, West Bay Central, that's where I am, and visualizing the map, our constituency is the only constituency that has no access whatsoever of the sea around us. And I'm wondering whether, with all of the counting and calculations that have to be done, whether there's any way we could extend West Bay Central either towards the south to pick up the seashore or to the north, the Barcas area, somewhere, so that we too could also have access to the sea. If everybody knows I'm keen on each and every one of us having access to the sea, and I feel it would be good if we could do that. I hope that it's not too unclear what I'm trying to get across in both instances. But I'm for a national vote, but I would want to vote for all 19 of the candidates. Thanks very much. I'll listen, and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Any feedback on that?
Well, the problem with the national vote is that the caller is talking about voting for all 19. Well, if she have candidates, if that system came into effect, and she had a candidate that was from West Bay, or West Bay North, or West Bay South, or whatever, they might get elected. But the candidates that represents Northside, Borden Town, Cayman Brack would probably not get elected, because the majority vote and the majority of vote for that kind of election would be between Borden Town, East End, Borden Town, Georgetown, and West Bay, and I'm sure that if you have the majority vote for voting for all, you are going to vote for the people that you know from your own district, and so therefore it would be it would go back to the old system, sort of being unequal, that you would have a majority of the people in one place voting for all the candidates, and the other candidates might not have a chance to be elected.
Even if you put into place residency requirements, like everybody on the island would vote for, say, somebody from Northside and somebody from East End, that would still mean that people from Northside weren't selecting their own representatives.
Yes.
It would mean that people from other areas, like Georgetown, would have more say in who would represent Northside than Northsiders themselves.
Okay. I'm going to take a look at Section 89 again, subsection 2 of the Cayman Islands. It says, in preparing its report under this section, the Commission shall A, take no account of the racial distribution of electors within the Cayman Islands. B, take into account the natural boundaries within the Cayman Islands. C, have regard to existing electoral districts. And D, subject to the foregoing provisions of this subsection, ensure that so far as reasonably practicable across all electoral districts, there will be an equal ratio between the number of elected members of the Legislative Assembly representing each electoral district and the number of persons qualified to be registered as electors under Section 90 of the district. But, and this is the carve-out that we were speaking about earlier to the caller from the Brac, Cayman Brac and Little Cayman shall, between these two islands, at all times return at least 2 members to the Legislative Assembly. So if we look at the fact that so far as reasonably practicable across all electoral districts, there will be an equal ratio between the number of elected members of the Legislative Assembly representing each electoral district and the number of persons qualified to be registered as electors. How difficult is it to accomplish that in a very small jurisdiction of ours?
Depends on what you mean by how difficult. I mean, literally, we could draw the maps that do this, and we did draw maps that do this. But of course, what that means is that some of these constituencies would cross traditional district boundaries.
Yes.
You would have to, for example, also combine East End and North Side. So it's possible, and it's an alternative we could explore, and it's a alternative that, for example, when the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association comes and produces expert reports on the elections here, they always comment on the fact.
The observer missions?
Yes, exactly. The observer missions, and every mission that they have come and commented on since you've adopted this system, they've pointed out that the constituencies are unequal and that you should have constituencies that don't deviate more than 10% from the ideal population size. So it could be done. And in our public meetings, we're talking about various alternatives, and that is one alternative. So technically, as an exercise, it's easy. But there are reasons why you might not want to do that. And the big reason is, for example, North Side and East End would have to be combined. And if you believe that these traditional districts should have their own representatives, then in fact, you would not want to put into place a strict rule that districts should not deviate by more than 10%.
Well, East End and North Side, they're certainly not like the Hatfields and the McCoys, but they want to remain separate, I believe, when it comes to having their own representative. But you will get the feedback from them as well when you visit those districts. We have to take a commercial break. I'm told we have at least 3 callers on hold. Callers, don't hang up. We're going to accommodate each of your calls as well. We just ask you to please be as brief as possible so that we have the ability to accommodate all of you. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I tell you what, I need to find a way to bring my electricity costs down. I don't want to see another high bill next month.
Have you tried doing an energy audit?
A what?
An energy audit. The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Oh yeah? I'm going to log on to that website right now. What was it again?
Visit energy.gov.ky to download do-it-yourself energy audits for your home or business. There is even a fun activity guide for kids.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Cosulest, and Foster's.
Visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission. We have 4 callers on hold. I have an email that I will share at a later point as well, and we do have a voice note as well, but we're going to the phone lines because we have encouraged people to call in as well. First caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to the panel.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm. This is a much needed meeting. So, my choice would be 19 votes, but it should be that for 19 votes, 1 vote has to be from every district that has the choice of a vote. Now, in Bordentown, we get 3 representatives, Georgetown 3 or 4, and West Bay 3 or 4. So you would have the choice of bringing it in that category. But you must have a vote from East End, North Side, Kemenbrack there too, so that everywhere that we have a choice. But I've never seen an election where there's only one person vying for the title. So it's always that you try to pick the best that you think. So I would still stick with that, but I would prefer to vote for 19 people that I think would be a good choice to represent us all.
And that would be 19 people as a group, or all 19 from the various constituencies that are currently established?
From the various constituencies, or from the, or we want to call it districts or whatever, but so long we get 19 and the quantity of representatives that we normally cater to for each area. Because, to be honest, party systems don't work. We can see that right now. The party name does not work. So I think it's better to have 19 people representing us so that you can get East End, North Side, Kemenbrack, Bordentown, West Bay, and Georgetown, but with the same quantity of reps that we're catering for in that way.
Okay. So, caller, don't forget, Monday, the 22nd of May, in West Bay at the Sir John A. Cumber School Hall from 7 to 9 p.m. The meeting will take place there, where you can, again, personally make your representations, no pun intended, make your representations, to the commission.
Yes, and see, the hall is called the Shirley Kids Hall.
Oh, okay.
It was dedicated to the teacher that was there.
Miss Kidd, okay, rename. That's good to know. Thank you for that as well.
Okay.
You have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you there as well.
Definitely, God spares life.
Okay, let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning again. Thanks for your time. I just wanted to find out one thing. How did they get to the point where a representative can live in one district and run in another district for a seat?
We're coming to that. I have another query from someone in relation to that as well. So if you can hold off on that, we will address that.
All right. Thank you all so much. Have a good, blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, OC.
Good morning. How art thou?
I'm good. And good morning to your panel.
Good morning, Lord Graham.
That seems to be very hell-bent over just one man, one vote, and not entertaining other suggestions.
No. They're going to entertain all suggestions.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they're going to present them.
Listen.
And they're going to entertain all. We won't let you besmirch them
like
now.
the lady said just now, and you must vote for somebody in each district. If not, we need to go back to what our forefathers gave us. And the only thing that I would suggest with that, and forget about population, is to add one more representative for Northside and one for East End, because it's a vast mass of land for that one individual to take care of. So that is the only thing. If we're not going,
but should we be using land mass? Should we be using land mass as a measure of representation, or should it be population?
No. I'm just saying, because of East End, because where you implement things where Kim and Brack must return 2 people. So let's do that for East End and Northside too. Because, like I'm saying, because of the size of the property. You remember now, Mr. McLean or whoever's there have to take care from Northside Road straight to Old Robin, and Mr. Miller had to take care of from Northside Road straight to Kaibo. That's a huge area. And when one of those individuals have to go on vacation or the likes, there's nobody to represent. So that's the only change I would have made with the system that we had. We need to go back to that system if we're not going to national voting. And forget about this one man, one vote. We're losing grip. Okay. One man can be in there forever once and keep 25% of the population in his area happy. Where 75% of the people in his area don't even like him, because it depends on how many people run within that area. He can win with 25%. That's not democracy. So we need to go back to what we had.
And don't forget now, your district, District of East End, there were several elections when you had persons there running unopposed, and as a result of that, after nomination day, basically they were declared the winners. So your district has a historical trend in terms of domination by one politician.
Yeah, but you know what that was? We had a good politician. Not like the rest of us handkerchief politician. We had a good one, so we didn't want to change him.
Good answer.
Even the guys that never really like him was happy with him. They never run against him. So that means we had a good politician. That's all that means. So don't bring that up now.
Okay. Don't forget, East End, Thursday, the 25th of May, at the East End Civic Center from 7 to 9 p.m. Meeting there as well. So we expect you to be there also.
I don't know if my good friend Dr. McField will want me to be there.
Yes. We want to hear from you. Want to hear from you.
All right, later.
Thank you very much, Paul. Any other call on hold? Let's grab the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning.
And good morning to your panel.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have 2 questions to ask, and then I'm going to add my 2 cents worth. First of all,
I'm going to interrupt for a second because I may have to ask you to hold on so that we can take our headline news, which is going to be like 30 seconds.
Okay, we'll go to the news and I'll wait.
Okay. Paul, top of the hour headline news. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back shortly.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority.
The Kearney Gomez Doppler radar is back up and running following successful repairs by the National Weather Service. The radar service went down back in March following hardware failure. Scientists predict the world's overheating is likely to break a key temperature limit for the first time over the next few years. Researchers say there's now a 66% chance the world will pass the 1.5 Celsius global warming threshold between now and 2027. The chances are rising due to emissions from human activities plus the El Nino weather event expected this summer. If the world passes the limit, scientists stress the breach, while worrying, will likely be temporary. And President Joe Biden and Republican leaders in the U.S. have expressed cautious optimism that a deal to raise the debt ceiling is within reach following emergency talks at the White House. But House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy told reporters the two sides are still far apart. The standoff has forced Mr. Biden to cut short a foreign trip. Without a deal, the U.S. could enter a calamitous default on its $31.4 trillion debt as soon as June 1st. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
The headline news are brought to you by Health Services Authority.
When you have a sports or fitness-related injury, trust the expertise of the HSA's Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic to get you back in the game. Our internationally trained and certified physicians specialize in sports traumatology, sports medicine, pain management, and orthopedic surgery. For treatment of common injuries such as tendonitis, arthritis, tennis elbow, rotator cuff, or knee tears, schedule a consultation with the Sports and Exercise Medicine Clinic at Smith Road Medical Center by calling 949-8600 or visit hsa.ky for more information.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines because we do have a caller on hold. Caller, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. The first question I have is regarding that section that you read. I think it was section 89 or something like that. It included the thing about the carve-out for the sister island.
Okay, yes.
Okay, and what I heard there at the end was that they must return at least 2 representatives. So if it says, and the lawyers are there so they can correct me, if it says at least, then it's not limited to 2. It could be increased. So the caller who was querying that, having it increased, that the Little Cayman could have their own representative. I don't know how you would explain that, but if the wording says at least, then it's not limited to 2. So that shouldn't be a problem there. And the other question I have is, and this is a genuine question, I'm not being facetious here, the panel. Now, does the panel have are they empowered to implement any changes, or do they just make recommendations based on what the voting public feel or would like to have changed? That's my 2 questions, and I'm going to add to that to say that I am strongly and have always been very opposed to one man, one vote. It's not working here. I think that's very clear. It's what has destroyed a lot of the other islands. And I don't know how we change that, if we have to go to referendum or if the panel has the authority to, based on what feedback they get, to change it. And I do believe that one of the previous callers, her question was misunderstood, or her suggestion was misunderstood, because she said she would support voting for 19 people, but making sure that each district got a fair shake. But I'm not here to speak for anyone. What I am going to say is, if we cannot have the voting system changed, that we get that throughout the island, regardless of whether you're east end or north side, that each voter can go out and vote for 19 people, then let us go back to the system we had. Because in that, at least, you had a lot that you could choose from. And at the end of the day, let's use Borden Town, for example. The 4 people that had the most votes were the 4 representatives you ended up with. And the majority does rule. So anything except what we have now, I believe, could be better. And if it's not better, then we can always work on improving it. So I would support changing what we have now to something else, because this is certainly not working.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for that. Anyone want to respond? She had a question for.
Well, she is correct in that we can only make recommendations. We will listen to all the comments that we hear from the people who attend the meetings, comments we hear on radio, and we will put together a report on the constituency boundaries. That really is our remit. The system of voting and how we vote is actually a constitutional issue, and that would have to be brought up to the parliamentarians. People need to voice their opinions to them and express what system people think is best. And like the last caller said, maybe a referendum can be held, but they would have to convince the politicians that there ought to be a change in. I don't know how easy that is going to be. Politicians tend to like the system that put them in.
Yes.
And getting them to change their minds is going to be a monumental task. But as for the Boundary Commission, our remit under Section 89 is really to look at the boundaries, look at the numbers, see the imbalances that are there, and try to correct them, bearing in mind international standards. So we can note what people have said, but anything that requires a constitutional change has to be done by the members of Parliament, not members of the Boundary Commission.
Mm-hmm. And also we would have to look at the elections law as well, because that's a part of it also. We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, O.C.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. Good morning to your panel.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I didn't really want to discuss anything this morning, but I was just asking the panel if there was a chance of them moving that meeting from a Tuesday to a Monday night, the same week. Instead of being Tuesday, being Monday. Why had a few people called me and asked me to voice that concern because of them wanting to attend the meeting, but Tuesday night being a service night and Wednesday night being a service night on the island, if they could move it to a Monday night, the Monday night instead of the Tuesday. It's just a question I'm putting out there to them.
Well, I'm not sure because arrangements have already been made. So at this stage, I'm not sure that that's going to be possible. We could check with the elections office and see, but we can't make any promises.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had to. Okay, have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, as well. So one of our listeners has written in and said, I have 2 points regarding elections. We are ignoring the issue of allowing permanent residents to vote. This will happen, like it or not. And as a Caymanian, I welcome it. Also, the hypocritical issue of requiring voters to only choose one candidate in their little community of residents. Yet, the candidate can live anywhere across the islands. Keep it as it once was. We all choose representatives within our district as a whole, but add a national vote for cabinet also in this particular case. But Ms. Adriana, you addressed the whole issue earlier in terms of, what the remit of the Electoral Boundaries Commission is, and it really has nothing to do with the voting and the process of voting. It has to do with the boundaries, the electoral boundaries, the electoral districts, the constituencies.
That is correct. We can note what the public is saying and put it as a sort of addendum to our report. But that's as much as we can do. These issues have to be dealt with by the parliamentarians. And, good luck in persuading them to change something that benefits them. Maybe Dr. Macfield would like to have his say something on it.
Well, it's not within our mandate, really. Who's qualified and who's not qualified to vote, or who should be allowed to vote, is not what the Boundary Commission is about. If you look at what it says, boundary commissioners, we are interested in examining boundaries by the population, but because of the population growth, and to see whether any adjustment has to be made or not. If there are no adjustments, then we will make a report to that effect, and if there are adjustments, we will make reports to that effect. But we have no mandate to say whether permanent residents should have the right to vote or not, because that is not within what the section that deals with the Boundary Commission qualifies us to do.
Okay. Paul, we have a voice note as well. Do you want to play that voice note for us now also?
Whilst I can appreciate what Dr. Macfield said with respect to us having
having to be within line with international standards as far as electoral boundaries are concerned, and the number of persons in districts. Why did we even make that many districts to begin with? Why couldn't we just have it grouped, all one whole list of individuals like that previous caller said? Georgetown has 4 districts for you to vote in. And I know that some of them are 300-400, or maybe, I'm not quite sure. But the point is, I'll have to look on the elections website to confirm that. The point I'm trying to make is, we're not looking at the future now. It's going to come a time when we're going to hear, oh my gosh, we need to give Little Cayman its own representative. Or we need to just make one representative for Kimmerbrook. We would be fine with that too. 1 for Kimmerbrook is fine. We don't need 2 for Kimmerbrook. But we definitely need an independent one for Little Cayman. They need their own, even if it's only 300 and something people. They would still be right in line with, like you said, Dr. Macfield, Northside and East End. So let's not tell me that it's not possible, that it can't happen. Anything can happen.
Well, that caller to a certain extent hit it on the head in terms of looking, at the future. But when that time comes, that is why an Electoral Boundaries Commission has been established, and that is why a review takes place every 8 years, so that you can make adjustment to those changes. But I'm not the expert. I'm going to ask Dr. Handley to speak to that as well.
As you just pointed out, the reason for doing this every 8 years is to account for population changes. And at this point in time, the population in Little Cayman is very, very small. A fifth of the size of even our smaller districts. It's just not going to happen now that Little Cayman has its own constituency. But should it grow in size, there's a possibility at some point that it would have its own representative, especially since Cayman-Brock and Little Cayman are guaranteed 2 seats.
Doc, anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't. There's nothing I can add to that, except that that's going to take a long time. What's the population of Little Cayman now? Probably 200 people. What's it, Adrian?
Yeah, I don't think
it's just Sister Islands, 514 and 1160, and
that's combined.
Yes. Combined 1160. Now, one thing that we have to look at when we're doing the Boundary Commission report is census figures, and we have to go by what the census shows, whether the population in a particular area is growing, whether it's declining. So we have to accept the figures that they give us and base our recommendations on what we've factually given by the census people. So we're kind of bound by the figures that they give us, and if they say an area is declining, we have to take that into account. I agree that we must look to the future, but we're kind of bound to dealing with what is actually before us and dealing with what the census figures shows us at the time that we're making our report and our recommendations.
And it is not necessarily new to us, because we have seen the adjustment of boundaries in the Spots Newlands area. There was a time when a part of Spots Newlands was when we did have the 7 electoral districts, that part of Spots Newlands was Bordentown and part of it was Georgetown. And that change, was made there for the purpose of establishing the constituencies that we have established now as well. All right? We're going to take a commercial break. When we return, we can talk a little bit about that as well, because we do have a caller on hold as well, because I believe that, while people are bent on retaining their traditional districts, what they also have to understand that it is for the purposes of voting. It doesn't necessarily change the cultural habits or anything else in those districts as well. That doesn't change. It's for the purpose of voting and nothing else. So, caller, hang in there. Quick commercial break. When we return, we want to hear from you, so please stay tuned.
Ensuring your existing appliances and equipment are cleaned and maintained regularly is an easy way to improve energy efficiency in your home.
Have your air conditioning equipment serviced by a professional. Make sure bathroom and kitchen exhaust fans and refrigerator coils are cleaned regularly, because the harder your appliances have to work, the higher your bills will be.
The do-it-yourself energy audits on energy.gov.ky make it easy to find ways to save energy and money in your home or business.
Complete an energy audit of your home or business before 31st of May 2023 to be entered into a prize giveaway. Prizes include a $5,000 gift certificate to Home Gas and gift certificates to Cooling Pros, Foam Pros, Costly Less, and Foster's.
To learn more, visit energy.gov.ky today and follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual-specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Circle of Love Women's Ministry is celebrating 10 years of impacting the children of the Cayman Islands, and we're so excited about our Child Month celebration. Our goal has always been to empower and uplift the children in our community, and we're proud to say that we've achieved that over the years. But none of this would have been possible without the incredible support of our community partners. The Ministry of Innovation and Social Development, Ministry of Education, Motif Media, Burger King, Persona Events, Crichton Properties, MJ Party Rentals, Caliente Productions, Mitchell's Trucking, and the exceptional staff at SEMA and CNB. Thank you, sponsors, for investing in the children of the Cayman Islands. If you'd like to become a community partner, contact Shanda Hunter at 922-3229.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, we have members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission in the person of Dr. Lisa Handley, Ms. Adriana Webb, and Dr. Steve McPhail. We do have a caller, and as promised, we're going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator and your panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fine. You're going to be into West Bay, is it Monday night coming for this meeting?
That's correct.
Good. I just thought it would be a perfect time for the panel to throw it out to the public their opinion about having district council as soon as possible into wherever you're going to put in a district, the island or whatever. But I think that it should be very much on the agenda as well. They should seriously consider that. Thank you.
Okay, we do give you an opportunity to respond to that as well. The first thing that ran through my mind is that I believe that we have to ask the UK for a constitutional change. And rather than being called an electoral boundaries commission, we need to include other responsibilities for this commission as well, because it is quite obvious. It is quite obvious that the politicians are not listening to their constituencies, to their constituents. They're not listening to them because there are certain things that they have control over, and many of these things fall within our elections law. Now, the advisory district councils, that definitely falls under our constitution, but it doesn't fall, within your remit as well. But we have to find, because we know that there's so many concerns out there. The big question is who is out there addressing the concerns that these persons have. So I believe that, in your district meetings, you need to have a huge, I know at one point in time the government tried to eliminate the legal pads and go to the 8 by 11 so that you could save paper, but you're going to need one of those legal pads to list all of the issues that people have. But let's grab the phone call. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Pussy.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning to your panel.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
I don't know the lady there. I know the two, Steve and Adriana. This is Arden McLean.
Yes, sir.
That should ring some bells.
Morning, Arden.
Good morning.
Morning. Pussy, first, you saying that when that caller was talking about the
advisory district councils?
Yeah, the council. I just want to comment on that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Alan and I never did support the appointment by cabinet. We wanted it to be elected midterms. And alas, Alan went in for 8 years and still didn't do it. So, be that as it may, people will have to determine what that meant, whatever. So I just wanted to comment on that. Two things I wanted, and I wasn't listening to the radio for very long, but I would like to first ask the panel a question.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is very specific is instructive on when we are doing single member constituency, we must maintain the original district boundary. Am I correct?
Take into consideration, I believe.
Consideration, not must.
Yeah, that's right. So that is very instructive, and it was because of the cultural differences, if we can call it that, and the differences when we read that Constitution, because we were all concerned about overlapping into these constituencies, okay? Because of how people are comfortable with the election and the representation, and that person is personal to us, which is typical wherever you go in this world, in any democracy. That is true, and we talk about the big word in our democracy period, and representation, gerrymandering. So those were at the forefront in our minds when we were discussing and subsequently negotiating the Constitution. I can tell you all that. So certainly I would like to see the district be maintained for representation, political representation because it's personal to those people. And I know there's this talk about combined East and North Side for equality. Now, let's be fair. So, equality in numbers, and I'm talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be a little, go out on the limb and be fair. Let's look at America, and most of us would know what that represents. You'll have 8 million people voting eligible, registered voters in Florida, and New Hampshire or Wisconsin got 2-3 million. So what they did was went to the electoral system so that they could come up with some equality in how people are represented. That's what they did. Now, now I turn to what I really want to talk about that. We have within these territories an at-large system as well. So BVI, smaller than us, but they got single-member constituencies. So to satisfy the wishes of the people of BVI, many years ago, when they, like our people, wanted to be able to vote for multiple members, like it was in the past, what they did was do an at-large. I think they got 4.
Yeah, four at large and 9 constituencies.
Right, 9 constituencies. Now that will go, in my view, a long way to satisfy those people. We're 19 now. To get it up to another even number would be 2 or 4, right? Uneven number, Matt. So why don't we, if we are concerned about that, and that is the subject matter, why don't we just go with 2 at large, and then people, every eligible voter in this country will have 3 votes. 1 for their representative, and 2 at large. Because we are not going to properly satisfy our people if we go to everybody voting for across the country. Here is why, in my view, and I was going to say this at your meeting this 10, but I don't know if I'm going to be there. Here is why, OC, and Steve and the others. When you do that, you run the risk of not fulfilling the wishes of the people in those constituencies. Let's look at East End. The last election, I lost the election. But if everybody in this country were capable of voting, they would have voted for me. I'm almost sure. I would have won that election, but the wishes of the people of East End would not have been realized. Because all the people of East End, the majority of the people of East End, voted for Isaac Rankin. And that is the problem you're going to have. And when you do the all-island vote, you also have to say you've got to vote at least for 1 in East End, 1 in the North Side, 2 in Kim-on-Brack. But then you get popular people who will win overall with the population in Georgetown and West Bay, and the wishes of the people of East End, the person they want to represent them, would not be realized. That is the issue we're going to be faced with.
I think Dr. Handley expressed that view. I'm not sure whether or not it was on air or off air, but she pointed that out earlier in the show as well.
Okay, I'm sorry if I
No, not a problem. Not a problem.
But my view is, and certainly I can't influence them, but I can suggest that if we are concerned about those things, then we go at large. And I know Dr. Hanlon
But bear in mind now that their remit is has to do more with boundaries and not the voting system. Even though, if they continue to hear more about that, then of course, they will include that in their report.
We certainly will.
Yes.
I appreciate that, but no report can be completed without including what they hear expressed to them and how that can be affected in the interest of the people. So I believe it would be fair if they hear that expression for an extended amount of time that they could include in their report what they heard. This is how we suggest that be addressed.
Okay. All right. And I ask you to leave us there. We have to go to a commercial break. We'll still have about half an hour left to go in the show as well. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone, and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
What exactly are the steps in the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey? Step 1 is a questionnaire where you'll be asked about your health behaviors and lifestyle choices. Step 2 involves home measurements like height, weight, and blood pressure. Lastly, Step 3 is a finger prick blood sample for cholesterol and glucose. STEPS 2023 starts on June 3rd. Learn more by logging on to www.gov.ky/steps.
Cayman Art Week brings you 5 days of art events and exhibitions from Tuesday the 30th of May to Saturday the 3rd of June, all free and open to the public. Visit galleries and studios anytime throughout the week or hop on one of the buses running guided tours around a different district each night. Don't miss this chance to explore Cayman's local art scene. Meet some of the artists or buy some art of your own. Check out what's happening each day, where the party is at, and how to catch a bus tour by visiting CaymanArtWeek.com.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, members of the Electoral Boundaries Commission. Paul, any callers on hold? No callers. So one of our listeners who had called in earlier wanted to know whether or not we could address the phrase that is used in our Constitution in relation to the sister islands, that at least 2 representatives from the sister islands. And I think she made the point that if it says at least 2, that means that it could be more than that. And of course, for it to be more, it would require a constitutional change and changes to the election law as well.
That's right.
And the numbers also kind of dictate where a representative goes. I mean, it's for what Little Cayman is maybe 200, 300 people. I mean, is it likely that they're going to want to do that? That's a consideration that we have to take into account. Not this commission, but that's what the government and the Constitutional Commission would have to consider.
One of our listeners had a question in relation to whether or not, as it stands now, do we have too many representatives for the size of the population and the way that it has been distributed is concerned? Do we have too many representatives?
So you're very lucky in one sense here that you actually have you are a small country, and it was pointed out, I think, last night in the public hearing. Your representatives know their voters. Financially, it may be the case that you have too many, but I think that this is one of the good things about your system, and this is one of the good things about constituencies, is the fact that these representatives have small constituencies, and they know their voters, and the voters know them, and there is a connection there that you would not find in most countries with very, very large constituencies. So I think it's an advantage, but I'm not sure, how far you want to go in terms of increasing it. But and I don't know how well you can afford it, but I think that what you have now is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, costs, I believe that our members of Parliament probably earn more, not taking into consideration the perks that you get in the U.S. for, office space and staff and things of that nature. But, as a base salary, I think they probably earn more than members of Congress in the U.S.
They probably work hard.
Okay, so again, over to you, Dr. Handley. It's been 8 years. Can you speak to some of the changes that you have seen that have taken place in the Cayman Islands since then, when you look at the figures, when you look at the numbers, and how, this may be a difficult question, how do we get to where we would want to be ideally as far as having the equal numbers in the various constituencies?
The first thing I have to say is I didn't even recognize. I got lost going from the airport to my hotel. The amount of growth is absolutely enormous. But, of course, the growth is not equal even across the traditional districts. And you've had a lot more growth in some areas than you've had in others. And this is why we're here looking at the boundaries. We want to account for shifts in population, but we also want to take into account things that are brought up at public hearings, like the traditional districts. Mm-hmm. So this is a weighing exercise, and while we want to take into account, and we are obliged to take into account population, we are also going to take into account other things like traditional district boundaries. And I think it's really important that the public come out and tell us what they think about these factors that we're weighing. And so I want to urge people to come to the public hearings and tell us how they think we should weigh things and what they think is important.
Okay. Ms. Adriana, anything you want to add to that?
Well, yes, we are very keen to have members of the public come out to the meetings. We won't know what they're thinking unless they come and they tell us. If they want to write into the elections office, they can do that. We're going to be meeting the members of the opposition. Interested parties, I guess, can write to us or maybe ask for an appointment. But we are very, very keen to hear from the public, because this whole election matter is all about the public voting who they want. And we need to hear from them about what they want. Now, there are some things that we can't deal with, which is for the Constitution, but we can make a note of those and pass them on.
Yes. Doc?
Yeah. Following up from what Dr. Harley said, the tremendous growth. I think this is the only country that grows more than 20% in some 8 years. Population growth.
11 years, yes.
11 years. Yes.
But a lot of it, the growth was much more recent.
Yes, most recent. A lot of the growth, I would say more than half of the growth was within the last 5 years. And that has brought a tremendous problem. Because of the large, like you said, the large development in one sector alone. And when you go into the other sector, you'll find that it's still partially populated, and there's no sort of encouragement to have those people populated. What I would say, and I want to throw this example out. In Canada, when people were coming to Toronto and Quebec and all of those big cities, and were crowded in the big, those who crowded, population was increasing so fast, the government gave incentives for people to move out of the big cities and go into the northwest and to the north, into the northwest and the northeast. If we want to keep if we want to abide by and obtain and maintain the international standards, we have to have those other districts populated. It's been so long that that some of those districts are under 1,000 people. Northside, Boddentown, and Northside and East End. So there should be some sort of incentive to get people out there. When we were talking to some of the members of the cabinet, they were saying that that's the reason why they want to put a road in, to move the population out there, to the growth out there. But there has to be some sort of diversity to have the growth continue out there, and to repopulate those areas, because some of the statistics that we've seen, including those from the BRAC, some of those districts have lost population, people moving out of those districts and coming to go into the other districts where the land is cheaper, or better, employment is better, or the traveling time is less expensive. And so the government ought to take that into account. Now it's quite interesting to listen to a lot of the callers who wants to go back to the old system, but that's not possible under the international system and under the best international system for representation.
So, but what do we say to those persons who say, forget about the international standards, we need to have a bespoke system that suits the Cayman Islands as opposed to whatever international quote-unquote responsibility that we may have to adhere to? What do we say to them?
I think that the problem is that some systems are inherently unfair to some voters, and even international standards don't necessarily have to be abided by, and we certainly didn't do that when we drew the boundaries the last time. But they're there for a reason, and the reason is that this international standards are devised to explain what the fairest approach is, but it doesn't mean that you have to abide by them at all times. But there was a reason that you moved from the system you had to the system that you have now. Yeah. And this system is deemed fairer. Even if people want to go back to the old system, the fact is the system that you had in place was had been adopted by about a dozen countries across the world and had been left behind by all of those countries. You were the last one to leave the block voting system behind. It might be that you need to think about what's called a mixed system, where you have an at-large seat or two, or you elect your leader through the popular vote. But I still think that this system was adopted by Caymanians, and so it's not that the international community forced this change. This came from Caymanians.
Okay, we do have a caller, Paul. Let's take the last commercial break first, and when we return, we go straight to the caller. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, K-Man.
Heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and respiratory illnesses are among the top causes of death in Cayman every year. From June 3rd until July 31st, the Ministry of Health and Wellness will conduct the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey to better understand the prevalence of non-communicable diseases within our nation. Log on to www.gov.ky/steps to learn more.
You deserve a unique vacation this year, one with easy non-stop flights from Cayman. Cayman Airways offers more non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline. Now you can add Panama and Los Angeles to your travel bucket list. Skip the hassle of connecting flights. Panama is just a 2-hour non-stop flight from Cayman. And Los Angeles? Get there in less than 5 hours non-stop aboard Cayman Airways. Call 949-2311 or visit CaymanAirways.com to book your Los Angeles or Panama getaway today.
Attention Bordentown residents. The Department of Environmental Health Bordentown Bulk Waste Collection will take place between May 15th to the 20th. This bulk waste collection will replace the traditional year-end collection. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials or electronics. For more information on the Bordentown Bulk Waste Collection from May 15th to the 20th, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
For the record, with Orett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matter. For the record, with Orett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We still have a caller, Paul. We're going to make this the last caller because, again, we want to give the members of the commission an opportunity to talk about the meetings, as well, talk about what their remit is, and also to encourage people to attend the meetings. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, and I'm sorry to call back.
That's okay.
I just have 2 questions. Well, maybe I could ask the last, it would be a third question, so I'll ask that one very quickly. Has any meetings taken place in any of the Bordentown constituencies yet? And if not, when will they be? So that was a side question.
Okay, let me answer that for you first, so that we don't get sidetracked here. So Bordentown is tonight.
Okay.
May 17th. So Savannah, and that's for Savannah Newlands. It will be held at the Joanna Clark Primary School, also known as the Savannah Primary School, from 7 to 9.
Okay, so so my other 2 questions are, and if someone could answer them very clearly for me. The thing that you read out earlier was that from the Constitution, the thing concerning at least 2 representatives.
Yes.
Okay, so if that's already in the Constitution, why would there need to be a constitutional change to have more than 2 representatives? So that was one question. And then the other question is, I heard Dr. Macfield say that he commented on the fact that some people wanted to go back to the previous system, but that's impossible. So my question to that is, why is that now impossible? We had it before, so why is it impossible to go back to it? I know that they say they don't have the authority to make changes, but it seems to me that every suggestion that people have thrown out or people have voiced their opinions in their displeasure in the present system has been opposed. I mean, I'm listening to the show, and that's what I'm taking away from it. So I will leave it there, and if someone wants to respond to what I have asked, I would be happy to listen.
I'm going to, just for clarity, I'm going to ask you to repeat the last query that you had again, please.
You mean about what Dr. Steve said?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I heard him make a comment where he said, you know, based on people calling in and saying that they would, if in other words, if they can't have a change to, say, voting for 19 people, then let's go back to the previous system that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that's impossible. So my question to that is, why is it impossible? If we had it before, why would it be impossible for us to go back to it?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Doc?
Well, ma'am, we obtained this system by a referendum of the people, and there would have to be the same process again to go back to a referendum. And I don't think that a majority of people would want to go back to the old system, because that was antiquated and outlandish, and it didn't give me equality across the board for people to be for the elector to vote for the people who they really wanted to elected. And that's the reason why I'm saying to change the system would have to go back through the same procedure again.
Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so to respond to that, Dr. Steve, if you remember when the referendum was brought to change from the system we had then to one man, one vote, that referendum failed because the majority of the people preferred the way that we were voting. So the way I see it is that we have now been hijacked by the minority of people. And that's why we are stuck now with one man, one vote, which the majority are unhappy with. So, I mean, to me, it's not impossible. And if it requires then bringing a people's referendum and have that voted on and see where the country stands on it, then that's what we do. But I don't think it's impossible for us to go back there. There has to be a way that we can obtain a happy medium here. It's not fair for the majority of the country to be unhappy to satisfy a small minority. That's very unfair.
Okay, caller, thanks for that.
And if you could address the thing about the constitutional...
Yes, I'm going to address it right now, as a matter of fact.
But just a minute,
section, I'll give you a chance, Doctor.
Right,
Let me just...
right.
Section 60 of our Constitution reads, the Legislative Assembly shall consist of A, the Speaker, and then B, 18 elected members who should be persons qualified for election in accordance with the Constitution and elected in the manner provided for in a law enacted for this purpose, for the purpose of Section 93. So it clearly states there that it has to be 18. So the proviso that it is in there, that's in there, that speaks to the sister islands of at least 2, you would have to either amend the Constitution to increase the number to at least 19, or you would have to eliminate one of those constituencies in order for the sister islands to have the additional one. That's what would have to happen there on that dock.
And I don't think that the referendum on one man, one vote was lost. I think I think that's the reason why we have the one-man vote system now, because people voted yes for that.
Yeah, I have to go back to look and see if that we actually had a referendum on that.
We definitely did have a referendum,
yes.
and it was held at the same time that we had elections.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, the government changed at the time. So the government lost their seats, and the opposition then came in. And the first premier under the new constitution was actually Mr. McKeever Bush. But the referendum did pass, and by a pretty good margin, I do recall. Maybe we'll have to go back and check. But the first premier under the one man, one vote was Mr. McKeever Bush, and the government who actually supported one man, one vote in the referendum lost the government.
Yes, and after the referendum, that was the first time that the one man vote came in. That election.
That election.
Okay, we want to thank the caller for that. We still have about 5 minutes left. We want to give you all an opportunity for some closing comments and comments as well. But Ms. Adriana, you want to say something else? Go right ahead.
The caller mentioned that she got the impression we were opposing all the suggestions. We're not really opposing any suggestion. We're open to everything. But we are bound by the terms that we are commissioned under. And we have to follow what the Constitution says we can do. We can make a note of everything that people say to us, but we can't make decisions on it. We can only recommend. We will put those comments in as a side note, and the government can take them into account. But we're not opposing anything. We will pass them on, but it is not our mandate to deal with some of these issues. They have to be dealt with under the Constitution, which is for the government of the day to deal with.
Okay. And the 18th of July, 2012 was the date set for the referendum, one person, one vote, as well. So let's go around the table for some closing comments. Doc, we will start with you, and we will have the chair have the final say.
Yes, and thanks, Adriana, for making that quite clear. The problem that people think that. The problem that I see that people think that we have such a wide mandate to change things, like changing the voting requirements and so forth. That's not our mandate. Our mandate is to examine the population shift or the population rise or the population increase, and to see whether or not the boundaries, the electoral boundaries, need adjustment. And if they do, we will recommend their adjustment. But we can't make any decision. The decision always belong to the politicians who we have to send our report to. Remember, we have to make a report to them, and it's not our decision whether the change comes or a change doesn't come.
Ms. Adriana.
Thank you for having us, Mr. O.C. And like Dr. Macfield said, we look at the boundaries. We are bound by the terms of our mandate. We make recommendations, and it's up to the government of the day to accept it in whole or in part and decide what they really want to do. Now, a lot of what was raised this morning were constitutional issues, and there is a constitutional commission, and I would suggest that people write to the Constitutional Commission and put these views forward and have them take them up to the powers that we might be able to have a referendum on those. And I would like to encourage people to come out to the meetings we have in future, not because they're not in your area mean you can't come. The meetings are open to everyone, and we want to hear your views, and we will put them forward in our report.
Dr. Hanley.
I want to do what my fellow commissioners have just done and encourage you to come. We do have a job to do, and we do want to hear what you think as we sit and weigh. Again, we are not changing, it's not our remit to change the election system, but we will be looking at the boundaries, and we do want to hear what you think about changing the boundaries, and we hope that you will come to the hearings and tell us, because we will weigh your decisions, your opinions about this in our decisions.
Okay, and the meeting is tonight, the 17th of May, at the Joanna Clark Primary School, also known as the Savannah Primary School, and it will be from 7 to 9. I think just some corrections here. So we see a referendum on the changing the electoral system was held in the Cayman Islands 18th of July 2012. Voters were asked whether they wish to change the electoral system from one using the multi-member constituencies to one with single-member constituencies. Although the proposal was approved by a majority of those voting, the quorum of half of registered voters voting in favor was not met. So I think the caller was correct in that and corrected it as well. So I want to thank that caller. Well, folks, I want to thank you, for being here. Look forward to having more of these conversations as well. But it is important to remind the audience that the focus really is on the work of the Electoral Boundaries Commission, which has to do with the electoral boundaries, not the voting system. But since they are, because of their visibility, high visibility at this point in time, they're being bombarded with, and I don't want to say that, make that sound negative at all, with other issues as well. They are prepared to listen, to hear you out, to record what you have to say as well, because someone needs to listen to them. And if it means that based on what they have heard and their conveyance of that to those persons in authority, whether or not that makes a difference, then I'm going to take the license to speak on your behalf, to just say you will listen and you will record it and convey it as well. Can I get a yay?
Yes.
A yay from all of us? Yes.
Yes.
Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health. And JN Money. From abroad to yard. Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. Visit energy.gov.ky or follow the National Energy Policy on Facebook and Instagram. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
You are listening